All right, let's jump right in. Pretty much everything we do these days creates data. I mean, the amount of it is just exploding. But how do businesses actually use it all? How do they make sense of it? Well, that's where this idea of the data cloud comes into play. And today, we're going to break down exactly what that is and why it matters. To really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand the scale we're talking about. So get this. Between 2010 and 2020, the amount of data created in the world jumped from 1 trillion gigabytes to a staggering 59 trillion. I mean, that number is so big, it's hard to even picture. Think of it like this. If every gigabyte were a brick, you'd have enough to build the Great Wall of China more than 2,000 times over. It's just massive. And what's really wild is that the pace is actually speeding up. This quote just says it all, right? The systems and tools that companies built years ago, well, they were designed for a much, much smaller and tidier world. They just weren't built to handle this kind of data tsunami. And that created a huge, messy problem. And that problem, it has a name: data silos. As businesses scrambled to keep up with all this new data, they ended up scattering it all over the place, locking it away in different systems. This created a total digital mess that was incredibly hard and expensive to manage. Let me show you what I mean. So you might have your marketing team's data living over here in a public cloud service like Microsoft Azure. It's in its own little world, managed by that team, totally separate from everything else. Then, maybe your sales data is still humming away on an old-school on-premise database. A physical server sitting in your company's own data center. That's another silo, completely cut off. And just to make things more complicated, your product team's data, all that valuable usage info, could be with a totally different cloud provider, like Amazon Web Services. Every department, every system is its own little island of information. So who cares, right? What's the big deal? Well, trying to connect all those separate islands is a complete nightmare. It means you have to build these super complex, fragile data pipelines that are constantly breaking. It's a full-time job just to maintain them. And the worst part? You end up spending all your time and money just trying to connect the dots, instead of actually finding the insights that could move your business forward. Now, what about keeping all that data safe? This analogy here is just perfect. From a security standpoint, silos are a disaster. Every single time you copy data to a new system, you have to reinvent your security and your rules from scratch. It is literally like trying to manage the locks and keys for 100 different sheds when you could have just focused on securing one big central warehouse. It's inefficient and incredibly risky. Okay, so if that's the problem, this chaotic, siloed mess, what's the answer? Well, this is where the whole idea of the data cloud comes in. It's a completely different way of thinking about data. So the formal definition is a global network where you can mobilize your data. And that word mobilize is really the key. We're not talking about just storing data in some static warehouse anymore. We're talking about making it active, alive, and easy to work with. It's also built for what's called high concurrency, which is just a fancy way of saying lots of different people and applications can all use the data at the exact same time, without bumping into each other or slowing things down. And to really understand why this is such a fundamental shift, you have to hear this statistic. On average, a single piece of data gets copied somewhere between 9 and 10 times more often than it's created in the first place. Just think about that for a second. All of the wasted effort, the extra storage costs, and the massive security risk of having all those copies floating around. It's just not sustainable. The data cloud flips this whole idea on its head with something called secure data sharing. So instead of making a copy of your data and emailing it or sending it somewhere else, you just grant another team or a business partner secure, controlled access to your single live version of the data. No more out-of-date copies. And the best part, you can revoke that access instantly at any time. It's a total game changer. But how does this all work? How is this kind of scale, performance, and secure sharing even possible? Well, it all boils down to one really clever architectural innovation. Let's take a look under the hood at the engine that makes it all run. The secret sauce, the real breakthrough, is this one simple idea: the complete separation of data storage, which is where your data physically lives, from compute, which is the engine power you use to analyze it. You see, in older systems, those two things were fused together. If you needed more processing power, you had to buy more storage, even if you didn't need it, and vice versa. By splitting them apart, you make them independent, and that changes, well, everything. And once you separate storage from compute, all these amazing benefits just cascade out. You get virtually unlimited scale and performance because you can grow each one independently. That directly enables that high concurrency we talked about. Multiple teams can run huge jobs without any conflict. And that leads to incredible economics because you only pay for the exact processing power you use, right down to the second. And these three core benefits make the final three possible: a system that's way easier to use, way more flexible across different clouds, and way more secure. Okay, so that's the techie stuff. That's how it works. But what really matters is what you can do with it. Let's look at how this technology goes from being a clever idea to something that creates real impact in the real world. Because you have this one unified platform, it can power all of your different data needs at the same time. Think about it. Your business analysts, your data engineers, your data scientists training AI models, even your app developers, they can all work together on the exact same live, governed, up-to-date data. No more silos. Let's make this concrete. We'll start with the high-stakes world of financial services, where speed, risk, and compliance are everything. By bringing all their data together from every product and every channel, these firms are finally getting that true 360-degree view of their customers, and that powers incredibly sophisticated fraud detection and makes complying with complex regulations way simpler. Okay, how about healthcare and life sciences? An industry where data privacy isn't just important, it's the law. The game changer here is the ability to securely share sensitive patient data while staying fully compliant with strict rules like HIPAA. This is the kind of technology that helped researchers around the world collaborate and accelerate their work during the pandemic. And it's what helps connect different hospital systems today. And what about the super fast-paced world of retail, where having the right product in the right place at the right time is everything? Here, retailers can securely share live up-to-the-second point-of-sale data with their suppliers and partners. Imagine everyone in the supply chain looking at the exact same sales information at the exact same time. You can optimize inventory and run promotions instantly, creating a truly connected and efficient system. So let's wrap up with this thought. This entire shift, this whole concept of the data cloud, is really about one thing: breaking down the old walls that kept our data locked up and hard to use. Which brings us to a final powerful question for you to think about. If all those barriers were truly gone for your team or your company, what new game-changing questions could you finally begin to ask?